$1.5 billion over 4 years to assist with manufacturing in this country, principally around developing 6 new areas. His COVID-19 Commission Manufacturing Task Force recommended that the government target, including space, defence, resources, technology, recycling and clean energy and the like. Still, when it comes to manufacturing and getting it going, the PM again points to gas, pointing out that his National COVID Commission found that 20 to 40% of the manufacturing costs in this country came from the price of gas.
In a manufacturing context, it's especially important to highlight the necessity of our efforts to create a competitive domestic gas market. Now, the NCCC advised us that gas is up to 40% of many industries' cost structures in manufacturing. Now, combined with higher electricity costs, the NCCC said that has moved many firms into what they call a doom loop, where they are living turnaround to turnaround, making existential decisions about their operations at each point of the next major maintenance decision, rather than decisions where they prefer to be making in technology and much-needed productivity improvements to remain competitive and to build their business for the future. Now, that needs to change. That is why, as part of our gas-fired recovery plan, we have committed to resetting our East Coast gas markets, unlocking gas supplies, establishing a new gas hub and improving our gas grid distribution systems. If you're not for gas, you're not for manufacturing and heavy industry in this country and the jobs that they support. For many manufacturers, gas is half the problem that they confront.
But here is the issue with gas. Regardless of the announcement a fortnight ago that the federal government would build a gas plant at Kurri Kurri if AGL didn't do it, and the announcement that Santos's Narrabri gas plant has been approved by the New South Wales government, the big issue is what companies are charging manufacturers. So gas prices have already come down wholesale-wise to around $4 per gigajoule, but long-term contracts gas companies are entering into with manufacturers remain at $7 to $8 a gigajoule. This is the real challenge at the moment. Here are some comments from businesses this year to the ACCC post-COVID on the issue. Have a look. There is still no certainty on gas prices on any horizon, making business investment decisions difficult, particularly when our business is exploring growing its manufacturing asset base, says one user. Another says, we work in cycles to refurbish and update machinery. Current gas prices are impacting forecasted profitability, making it extremely difficult to justify continued investment in our facility, which is not a sustainable long-term position. Another user, there is no room to negotiate contracts or squeeze out costs. It's a case of take it or leave it from the gas companies. And another, in the wake of COVID, we have seen some reduction in production as a consequence of the closure of most restaurants and other food service outlets. This may require us to pay for non-used gas through our take-or-pay contract requirements, which would be an unfortunate consequence when industries are under operational stress. The government argues in its recent gas announcement it has demanded a voluntary code of conduct involving gas companies and their prices by February, and it may institute a mandatory code in February should the companies not agree. May institute this from their background note a fortnight ago from the government. They said they're about empowering consumers and improving transparency in pricing. The government will encourage industry to level the playing field in contract negotiations with commercial and industrial consumers through an industry-led code of conduct. If industry does not act on this by February 2021, the government will consider developing a mandatory code of conduct. They'll consider developing it. Let's see. Here's Kieran a short time ago asking the PM about this.
You mentioned a few times that up to 40% of costs for industries, their cost structures, are gas. Is there scope? Are you willing to enforce retailers to reduce their price closer to the wholesale price for those industries?
Yeah, well, the netback price, I think, is what you're referring to. Now, there are 3 things that we're doing in gas, and I outlined this up in the Hunter a few weeks ago. The first one is we need to unlock more of the gas, and so I welcome the decision in New South Wales on Narrabri. I think this is great. We're talking about massive investment here. The second thing you've got to do is ensure the distribution networks through the grid are not serving the interests of gas companies, but it's serving the interests of customers. And that particularly includes not just household customers, but business customers as well. There's too much volatility, there's too much uncertainty, but more certain distribution and through a hub arrangement actually deals with that. And then there are the market reforms that come on top of that. And that's what the National Cabinet is working on.
So it turns out you can build as many gas plants as you want, but if you can't get, and you could say market forces will come into issue there, but if you can't get the companies to play ball with the manufacturing companies, you're going to get nowhere. That's a challenge ahead from the government.